Good morning from Texas. Glad y'all could join me this early. This will be repeated again at noon Texas time. It's 12 p.m. Texas time, which will be, I believe, somewhere around 7 p.m. European time. Um, we have gone through the full conversion. All five of the videos are up on YouTube. I will be posting them out for everyone to be able to review as they wish. Additionally, this week, we will be putting up in five different languages a step-by-step guide to conversion of a WX or WinDev program, web dev program, or mobile, and the steps you go through to do that. That will be in five different languages. Additionally, we'll go over support and the steps here to get you started as well, because some of you have not been in, and this would not be as long as a meeting as most of them. And I don't think it's going to take us an hour. Since it's already been converted, the only thing we're going to be doing here is we'll go up, we'll take a look at it here as a local test, make a couple of changes, show you how that's done, and then we'll set up the deployment into Amazon using the CLI and show you a couple of features that I've added to it that we're going to be able to send out to each one of you, each one of the signups as they do it. Today it is released. You may sign up as you wish. There may be a change or two along the way as I'm trying to make sure everybody gets the correct co-pilot, or not co-pilot, I'm sorry, cockpit with it. And then we'll be off and running. Will there be help? Absolutely. I'm going to show you that right now. There will also be the ability that I have 4 or 5 people out of my beta testing group that are willing to give you a hand as far as any information or things that they know. One of them is in Australia. One of them is in Europe, Stefano. I think he speaks a couple of languages. I know Italian is one of them. That ought to be able to help people over in Europe. I will be usually available during the day from about 6 a.m. Texas time. That's Central Time in the U.S. till about 7 or 8 that night. Each night, I'll be online as well. My goal is to do everything I can to assist you in completing a conversion out of the current problems that PCsoft has given us and give you an ability to move forward. Don't want to discuss anything about their pricing or anything like that. That's up to them. I'm just giving you an option. Okay, so let's get started. When you get everything installed, one of them is the cockpit, which you'll see a WX down here, WX CAN band down here at the bottom. This gives you ability to look at frequently asked questions in VS Code, your development plan. We got a development plan on this one. Any of the help videos that I've got, there'll be a second section, which is the YouTube videos that'll be there. All of your commands that you can use is here. These are the commands for converting from Clarion, converting from WinDev, WebDev, and any of the commands to operate inside of Visual Studio to do your conversion. Now, you'll be able to see those and go over those, except for the Clarion one. I have not done a video on the Clarion one yet. In the first 5 videos that we currently have up there, and it will be in the documentation as well. We have communication, which is here, community help. I had built a brand new application called YapChat. YapChat is a item that I've had for years, and I've always wanted to do something with it, so I have, but it is still in flux, but this part works well. When you click on this, you will go straight to a chat room in the WX community, WX Kanban community public, and you'll be able to ask questions. I'm currently working on the AI agent that works with this. As you can see, that it's kind of it's kind of thinking that Stefano is the one to ask all the questions to, but this is the AI account saying I couldn't find the answer off the bat. You may want to ask Stefano. Actually, it should say you may want to ask Andy is what it's supposed to say. But it'll allow you to type in, how do I do this? Use the conversion, and there'll be somebody there to say, okay, have you done this? Have you done that? Okay. That's what it's for. So it's right here in the VS Code where you're going to do the majority of your work. It's important that we treat this as a community. One of the features that this should do, I have not had a full test on it, but what it should do is that you can type in your native language and I can see it in English. If I type something in English and your native language is French, then you should see it in French. That doesn't necessarily mean that you'll understand what I said or what I typed, but at least it'll be closer to your own language than not. I'm trying to develop this that whatever language you have in your configuration when you sign up, it will show you that language. If it doesn't, let me know. I'm working on it. I want to make sure that we are a global community of people that are trying to move forward with a whole new development environment. Okay. So where are we at currently here? We have done the full conversion. We have actually ran it in the last video and did a few changes, but the last thing that hasn't been done yet is the actual deployment. I use AWS. You can use whatever you wish. This will be a containerized deployment. I would suggest those. They're pretty easy to do. Either use Docker or if you've got AWS, you can use their, just the general containerized. If you use Docker, you can go add Docker over here in your extensions to be used and go from there. It's not hard to do. There's instructions out there in order to make it work. I do have to start Docker. Start the Docker desktop. In order to locally, you want to review how this works, and you want to see all the screens and things like this, how it works. What you do is you just type in start server and client. It is my understanding from Stefano and a couple others that are not in my language, English, that you could type it in your language and Claude will understand it for the most part. Okay. So it's going to read everything in, get it all up, and then it's going to fire up a little local browser and put it up there, and we'll start taking a peek at the whole thing during logon. It will come up with a local host and go from there. There may be some slight tunings through this. Okay. Restart. Okay, so it's already got it. Here we go. Our website is the first one, 3000. You can specify a specific port if you wish to do that with. But if you're only running one VS, it doesn't really matter. So this is the e-business site. We'll go in here. We can browse the catalog. Things like this is here. What I want to do is go to the admin, login, go to the back pages. Now, this works the same. This works the same as what you did if you go into web dev, run the e-business test site is what you're going to run as the e-business test site. And you can actually run the same application. I'm going to provide you with a user that you can sign in with if you want to run this online. And we will go from there. I'm going to separate this off. Can I do that? Yeah. Because it's not quite big enough for what's there. So what I've done is I told Claude to fill in some dummy information, things like that, since we own the website, currently, and let us know going through it. So I've got all of the listing of the products here. I've got product highlights, things like this. I've made a little dark and light mode, both on it. So you got both sides of that. You can edit one of these sections here. Okay. Silent Orchard. So you got the product highlight in, out. But let's say that I do not like to save cancel on the left side. I want it on the right side. So all I have to do is come down here and say, let's get the right screen though. Oh, wrong one. New product. On new product form, move the save and cancel button to right side under form. And my typing will work. It's early in the morning. I've only had one cup of coffee. There we go. So we'll do that, and let's watch the fun what happens. Get out of my way. What happened? Did I shut that? There we go. And this is how you can tune the visual of the product before you deploy. This is what I do. Simple as that. Oh, so what it did was switch the two. So we're going to do that. Switch. Let me get this thing out of my way. Switch the cancel and save. There we go. That's as easy as it is. So you can visually rearrange things to fit what you like. Change the fonts, whatever you want to do to make it look the way you wish for it to look, and go from there. Okay. If I want a different background for this area, I could do that, whatever I want to do, and it's all pretty easy to handle. The good thing about this is, like, if we're in here, you also have the ability to expand this. That comes in there as defaulted. So you can expand the entry area, things like that. You got all the listing here, which what it will do is it will automatically set up to resize, things like that, and does a pretty good job. There's a lot of different things that I have in here already. Characteristics, I don't know exactly everything, but most of the families, different things like that is in here. The biggest changes I've done is on the product is I changed the background of this to be a gray instead in dark mode. Put the add new on the left side, things like that. So you're able to make all the adjustments you need. Once you're done with it, of course, we want to deploy it. I here's the what I'm going to do is clear the conversation. What that does is basically eliminate the context. When you're working with Claude or working with any AI, it builds a context up. And when that context gets full, it compacts it. Excuse me. When it compacts it, the problem is that it gets so large, it gives you in the AI what they call hallucinating, which is basically what it's doing is it's trying to give you an answer and it's just going to give you the answer and not worry about it, whether it's right, wrong, or otherwise. So you want to clear it out if you're done with a certain set of tasks. Clear that out for the next one, so that way your context always stays small, tight, and you will use less tokens. So we want to deploy that. Let's deploy this application to AWS. The thing about it is I don't have a domain for it yet or anything about it, but AWS can help me with that. I need a domain, ebusiness at wexperts.com. So I'm going to need a subdomain. And container deployed. Now, let me make that a little larger for everybody. So what it's going to do there, it's going to help me deploy it to AWS with the container between thing there. It's going to understand the current state of everything, go through it. It's going to create the Docker here in a moment. And it will also create the routing in AWS. You do have to give it your credentials. Don't get me wrong. It's not just, oh, bam, just tell it to you have an environment that you set up in AWS and all that. Of course, you're paying for it, but it is a quick, easy, reasonable, and expandable system. It's what they call an elastic EC2. It works great. Okay. And what it'll do is it just kind of finishes everything for me. It took a little while to get it set up, but if you have installed over here the Amazon AWS toolkit, which is part of the getting started that we have set up, that will help you do anything you want on Amazon. Okay. No, I got that. I got to change the user ID. Okay. Okay. All right. I just did that. I just did that. Sometimes you got to argue with it. There we go. Arguing with Claude has become a fun thing to do for me over past 3, 4, 5 months that I've been using it. It allows me to do a lot with it. So it's going to go through the routing, set up the routes to go to the right place. So when I type in ebusiness.wexperts.com, it'll actually go and start up the application and we'll be going. So it's got everything it needs. It's going to do the routing. It's going to create the subdomain for eBusiness. It's got already has the connection parameters and everything it needs for getting to the database, which is a Postgres database on AWS, RDS. I use that because I do a lot of cloud-based. If you're doing a desktop type thing instead, use Firebird. It's local, requires no maintenance, and it will run real fast for you. If you're doing a small business where the business wants the database and everything internally in their office, things like that, again, I would look at Firebird for that because of the fact is it doesn't require maintenance, and it would be easy for them to handle it just like HF SQL would be. Okay. That's kind of like the conversion over. It is quite a bit older. It's been around for a long time and has got a excellent support network for it if you need to do anything as far as that's concerned. Okay. Okay. Now, any questions, please type them into the chat. I'll be glad to answer them. I'm sure to say, well, what if I want to publish it somewhere else? Uh, you can create your own Docker. Okay. When you do that, you can then publish the Docker to a Docker container on whatever server you want. I've done this with another little small company. My brother-in-law owns a trucking company, and he had a couple things that I built for him in Docker, and he works through that. Then you can tell it to point to that Docker container to start the website if somebody needs to do it. This is just easier because AWS gives you all the tools to do it with. But it's not mandatory. I do not say you need to go to AWS to do anything. It's just my way to do it. Okay. Okay. So it's working along. We should be done here pretty quick. Now, redeploying it once this is done is a lot faster because it doesn't have to do what it's doing now. So you can make a change and redeploy. Now, the great thing about redeployment that's different than the web application server is that when I tell it to deploy, it will do what a staging up there. In other words, it'll deploy the whole thing, and then once it knows it's there and verify, it flips over to it versus the older version that's there. So every customer then gets flipped that's using it currently will get flipped over to the new version the first time they change screens. It works great. Any refresh will bring them to a different version with whatever new features. Granted, I don't do that all the time, but on an emergency basis, it's easy. The company I do most of my work for, American Litho up in Chicago, we run 24/7. So that's going to make it a much easier methodology to make changes and put them on since everybody's using everything 24 hours a day. We won't have to wait and eat up holidays making updates is what it is. So we're building the Docker image right now. Now this is 85 scopes or screens, basically, areas. So this is not a small site, but it's not a huge one. 85 screens is what is rebuilt from the original e-business demo site. So you can review the e-business demo site from off of PC Soft and then come over here and see what we've done to it. The repeat of this at 12 p.m. Texas time, Central time, is going to be where I'm going to make some more changes to it, and I'm just going to redeploy it. I can't do anything else from this point on. And that'll be the end of it. The product's been released. This is a proof of concept. It works great. I've got one gentleman that is well, I got 8 of them over there in beta that is currently doing this. One gentleman Nico Steers moved his application from mobile over in 2 days. It took him 2 days. Over this period of time where the videos, of course, we're doing the videos too, this has taken basically 3 days to do 80 screens. Now, is it polished? No. Would I release it? No, I would not release it for a commercial to let everybody do it, but it's releasable to see how the conversion can work. But if you can convert something in 3 days, 2 days, 3 days, 80 to 100 screens, and then polish it to what you want it to look like and whatever new little features and stuff over, a couple more days, you're talking about a week's time for something that may have taken you much longer to build. That is excellent movement. My expectations for the 12 products that I have to convert over, and the biggest one is about 70 screens, is it will take me about a month, and I'll have everything converted over. And that's implementing every one of them. Now, I don't have to do anything database-wise. That's the difference. I've used Postgres for those, so all I have to do is the screens and backend. We are almost there. And the good thing about it is verifying that everything will run, or it'll roll back. It'll say, it won't run, so we can't publish this. These are skills that are out there that gets created, and the skills are the commands that I have been talking about here. These commands are the only ones you need, and it kind of depends on what you want to do. You've got the conversion from PC Soft on the WX conversion here, and it will convert all 3 types: WinDev, WebDev, and mobile. You got Visual Basic. If you have a real old Visual Basic and you want to convert it, I have that in there. The validate scope is when it does a changeover, and it'll create scopes for every one of the items that it converted. That helps you to take a look at it, see if there's any gaps, any issues with the scope that you need to address before you go any further. So it helps you build documentation on your applications that help you ensure that your product comes out the first time's pretty solid. Doesn't mean you don't make changes, but I mean, it works out very nicely, and it's built around skills and prompts that has personas of business analyst, systems analyst, 15, 20 years, things like this, or combinations of the two. The persona is the key, is one of the keys to this whole thing. You tell it, hey, you are a systems analyst of 20 plus years experience, detailed in such and such types. And what it then does is it says, okay, I'm going to deal it with everything in that type of method. I have one that does both the business analyst and the systems analyst because I want to see how it generates out, or how it says, okay, from a business standpoint, it should be doing this. From a systems analyst point, you're missing these pieces in order to do that. So it works out nicely that way. Implementation is basically go write the code for that scope. That's what it's for. I am working on the help catalog. This is a skill that I've been working on to actually go through, have it pop up every screen that you have, take a screenshot of it, and give you a full help system for it. There'll be some changes on that one because I'm still tuning it. The first one it's going to be working on is WX Kanban and the VS Code together. So that way it has help for both what you have to do in WX Kanban and what you have to do in VS Code to help you move forward. And then you have other things, development plan, which is okay. I've got all these scopes. What's the best way to start developing all these scopes from the foundation to the top of the roof? DB push is basically saying, okay, push everything I've done so far up to WX Kanban for storage. And that's only documentation stuff. And then I've got the Clarion for Windows conversions here for anybody that remembers Clarion. I was one of the Team Top Speed members years ago with that. Create specs. This is the second part. When the build scope or the scope is completed, create specs, create a set of specs, and we'll take a look at them real quick. But it creates a set of specifications with use cases, test cases, things like that, to ensure that you have everything covered. That's one of the first QAs, is going through its own, what they call smoke test, and going through its own test cases that it has. Build scope. If you're doing a brand new application, you've never done anything before, which is what I did chat, you actually start with build scope. And that helps you build each scope for each feature and screen that you want inside the application. That's what it's for. When everything is done, all the scopes are done, run analyze scope on it. And that says, okay, go through all the scopes you have, see which ones are work together, have the same pieces, same functionalities. And if that's the case, reuse code that is developed from those scopes in this one. So it's got it tries to make sure that your coding standards of reusability, tuning through it to make sure that you don't have drift, what they call drift, where two different functions start separating because one didn't get changed but one did. That kind of stuff that happens, and we've all seen it over the years. Stops and it starts reusing pieces. So it says, okay, this scope relies on this other scope to do its in order to finish. So it's telling you how that works. That's some of the things. To look at the specs, everything is going to be under one directory. It's called specs. This has two things with it. I got to go through them all. This is down here. Down here is the we're in the project scopes. Project scopes has every one of those scopes we had. So it shows exactly what's here, and I'm going to give you a little print preview of this as we go along. But what it does is it shows you what you've got. The overview of it, admin only back office, what's the business problem, who actors or what the actors are is in there, what success metrics you want, what's your boundaries of the scope for it, what is not being done in the scope, what UI controls that you're going to use in there, some behaviors, some data that you're going to get or put. So any open questions. Now, the open questions is things you've got to add. When it starts to run this, it's going to ask you those questions and you fill in their solutions to it. And then when I told you about the analyze scope, that's what this gap pass does. It goes through there and says, okay, here's the things that are in there. Fix. It confirms that there's English levels on every button and stuff that's in there. About us is sanitized on right. You need to decide on the RBAC. It drops the legacy mechanics, which is Ajax, refresh, things like this, keep alive timers, because you don't need them anymore. It resolves the company name persistence, and it resolves the put API admin configuration. So it's fixed those already for you. That's what that it does. Then from that, let's go look at the actual when you do the create specs 006. That is all up here. So we're going to go 006 up here. And it gives you and generates, don't write this, it generates the plan, the spec, and the tasks. So if we look at the plan, it's saying, okay, where are we at in the design? That's what the plan does. The spec says, here is the different pieces that we need to do with this one. And I'll bring it over as well. Okay. So it's going over this basically the same items that you had and says, okay, here I am. This is the specs part of this, what I want it to do, and follow along the scope. And then you're going to get into the tasks. And these are the tasks. Build this part, sanitize this part, create the screens, reusable foundation, do any tests and stuff that's necessary to be done. Some of them are more involved in this. Here's one that is much more involved. Build the admin characteristics, the values, the CRUD values, go through each one of these. Now, what happens is that as it finishes each set of tasks in development, that's what moves the card on WX Kanban from design to implementation. So that way you know where you're at. The second part about this is that there's a lot of times, depending upon the number of tasks, how big you have to deal with this, that it will do some of the tasks, but not all of them. So how do you know what tasks are not completed yet? That's where the cockpit comes in. You'll see that it says all caught up, different things like this. That is not the case. I'm going to refresh this. Okay. Okay. I generated everything, so it is done. Let's see. I've got another one over here. Let me just flip you over to this one. This is showing you. This is my Yap chat. This is showing you every scope that is not done yet, and these are the tasks that are not done within that scope. It's not that I actually do anything. I can look at it if I want to, but I'm not actually doing anything with it. There's not a methodology to say generate that task. I would come down here and say finish tasks for 001. And it'll go through and go ahead and process every one of those tasks and get them done. That's what I'm going to do. So that's how you can tell that you're not finished with that task because you got a list of them up here. Okay. And we move on. Let's see where we're at here. It's still working away. It's not an app runner service. Well, I didn't think it would put it in app runner. Okay. It's trying to put it in app runner, which was supposed to be deprecated. It should fail. This should go into the EC2 elastic. I'm making this a question mark. Amazon has this one deal is called App Runner, which is basically almost exactly the same, which is what WXCanban runs from. But it's not supposed to accept anything because they deprecated it at the end of the month last month. Um, Other things that I've got running in here is all on this EC2 Elastic that they have. So it should have went in there, but it didn't. It's trying to go into App Runner, which means there's a lot of setup on App Runner that you don't have to do when you do a Docker type system. So that's kind of everything that I have on this. It's going to take a little bit of time now to figure out that it went to the wrong place. If you have any questions, go ahead. Let's discuss any questions you have. I'm going to pause the recording. For the moment. Okay, what we've done is installed this completely. It is now up on Amazon under the subdomain of ebusiness.wexperts.com. I can do the /admin login and put in Andy W Experts, and I'll put in a user ID and password for anybody to get into this as demo and demo, okay, or something like that, okay. Uh, okay, so everything is in there. It's actually running. Everything's nice. Let's see what we got here. We got security, staff users. So I'm going to add a user. Oh, this has already done it. Add a back office user. Demo at eBusiness. Staff super user. That's fine. The password's going to be demo, DMO all in caps, DEMO all in caps. And we're going to add that user. Okay, so we got a little problem. We got a touch password and confirmation. I didn't type it right. Let's try that again. Caps, DEMO, DEMO. Oh, minimum 8 letters. So that's not going to help me much. So let's go E, all lowercase. Let's do an, let's see what we got. There's nothing else. 8 letters plus a number. So we'll do E. How do we need it? Okay. WX Perch. Nah, I want to make it easy. DMO 00007. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so we got 9. So that's demo. Nah. Demo. 1, 2. Come here. Demo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Demo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. Now we got him. So the user ID and password on this is, and I'll put it down here, is get my website back up here. Because this is hashed. You won't be able to go back in there and look at it again. That's for sure. Okay. So we're looking at demo at ebusiness.com with a password of demo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the user ID and password. If you're using this and you don't want him to do anything, hit stop and he'll stop. Right now he thinks you got to think about doing something where you got nothing for him to do. But that's the user ID in there. No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't want you doing anything. Quit. Yeah, see, it stops. I'll stop here. So that's how you can log on to the website and play with it. Okay. So we've done everything I needed to do. Actually, it took about an hour to get through all that, which is great. Which is about the time I usually want to keep these at an hour or less. There's going to be certain things that we'll do 15-minute videos for, but those will definitely be in the cockpit to be able to review as you want underneath the FAQs, things like that. And of course, we're going to be repeating this or making some changes and re-uploading it at noon Central Daylight Time in the U.S. If you want to come back, feel free, and we'll go from there. So we're going to stop this. Y'all be good at it, and have a great